Whispers in the dark, shadows that flickered just beyond sight. In 1692, in the quiet Puritan village of Salem, Massachusetts, fear took root and spread like wildfire. But was it a fear of the unknown, or of something more? Perhaps something otherworldly? Most are quick to discount this centuries-old tale as one of radical religious fervor preying on innocent victims, on those who were different and shunned, a classic case of mistaken identity and horrific abuse of power. But could there be any truth behind the accusations of witchcraft? Is it in the realm of possibility that mysterious forces were really at work as this horror story took place? There is evidence to suggest that this was indeed the case. It began with a group of young girls, their imaginations set ablaze by tales of the occult and the forbidden that would sometimes spread like a plague during the 17th century. In a society steeped in strict religious piety, they began to exhibit strange behaviors, fits, convulsions, and accusations of being tormented by unseen forces. But why Salem? Why then? Some say it was the result of mass hysteria fueled by the stress of a harsh environment and the ever-present threat of war with Native American tribes. Others argue it was a power struggle, with the accusations serving as a tool to settle old scores. What was initially seen as the harmless antics of children quickly escalated into something far more sinister. Accusations of witchcraft started to fly. Those who were different, those who had grudges against them, and those who merely lived on the fringes of society found themselves ensnared in the tightening web of suspicion. Yet, beneath these earthly explanations, there lingers a darker question. Were these accusations born solely of fear and superstition? Or was there something more? Native Americans tell tales of demons and evil entities that have coexisted with humans for thousands of years, stories of curses and strange occurrences, many of which were also documented by early settlers. The supernatural was as real to 17th century Americans as our cell phones are to us today. As the accusations grew, so too did the fervor to root out the supposed witches among them. Trials began, and with them, the relentless questioning and torturous methods meant to force confessions. But what of those who maintained their innocence? 20 people would eventually be executed. Many of them women, hanged on Gallows Hill. Others languished in jail, their lives forever scarred by the accusations. The trials were a spectacle, a public unmasking of the forces of darkness that supposedly lurked in their midst. But even as these trials went on, doubts began to surface. What if they were wrong? What if the very act of seeking out these witches was an affront to God? The Puritan leaders, once so confident in their cause, began to question the validity of the evidence, the spectral visions, the so-called witch marks, the confessions made under duress. When the trials finally ended, the damage had already been done. Lives were lost, families torn apart, and a community left to grapple with the aftermath of its own fear. But the mystery didn't end there. For centuries, the Salem witch trials have haunted the American consciousness, a reminder of how fear can twist reality and lead us down dark paths. Yet, the question remains, what if? What if there was a kernel of truth in those wild accusations? After all, witchcraft, in its many forms, has been documented throughout history and across cultures. Rituals, incantations, and the belief in powers beyond the mundane world were normal in 17th century New England. Could it be that some among the accused dabbled in the forbidden arts? Or was the real witchcraft the ability of fear to conjure up devils where none existed? In Salem today, the ghosts of the past linger. The town is a paradox, at once a memorial to those who suffered, and a living tribute to the allure of the unknown. The Salem witch trials remain one of America's most enduring mysteries, a legend that dances on the edge of shadow and light, fact and folklore. And so, as we look back on those dark days, we must ask ourselves, were the Salem witch trials merely a tragic episode of mass hysteria? Or was there something more lurking beneath the surface? The answer may forever remain just out of reach. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the unknown. If you enjoyed this exploration of the Salem witch trials, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Until next time, stay curious and beware of the shadows.